So to go ahead from this point, yeah, I thought of taking a simple, quite authentic sort of demonstration of how academic writing could be used in an authentic context. අපි ඇත්තටම මේ academic writing කොහොමද කොහෙද පාවිච්චි වෙන්නේ කියන එක ගැන චූටි හොයා බැලීමක් කරන්න හිතුවා as this half of the lesson. Would that be all right? එහෙම කමක් නැද්ද පුතේ? නැත්නම් shall I go ahead with where Madam Ashwini stopped? Or shall we try to put the things you learned in real practice and see how they appear in real writing context? What do you like? Sahanya? Yes, Sudha, how do you like? Shall I take a practical academic writing example and see how these things that we learned have been used in the academic writing context? Or, okay, okay, perfect. With that, let me invite you to go to Acalistem page where you see a very authentic academic writing text you can find from Sri Lankan setting. Can you go there and see what it is? Let me share my screen so that you'll be able to see it. So this has actually been shared out there in the Moodle page as well. I wish you can see my screen, right? Is it? Right. So it's a feature newspaper article from Daily News, published in April 23rd. And this is by Ashwini, who just finished the lecture, right? Okay, so let's look at how the academic writing differs from the rest of the writings, and how the things that she's been teaching you so far, things like the topic sentence and then the very structure of tech model and how you take the turn and how you go ahead with, within paragraph limits and then how to take a paragraph break and all that, right? So as you can see, this is going to be an academic article about something related to what we really discuss here, from literacy to language, overcoming the barrier to English medium STEM education. Well, I'm inviting you to read the introduction, and I'll be setting you a little challenge or rather task from it. Hope you are reading. This highlighted episode is the one that I want you to read. If you're done with reading that, let me have an indication with a thumbs up. Sanya, are you done with reading this highlighted half? Yes. Okay. Now, in this very sentence, or rather opening introduction paragraph, you see that the writer is taking quite simply from a generic to very specific scope, right? Academic landscape, academic literacy. What is academic literacy? How it is relevant? You see, now, unlike in general writing, as you know, in general writing, if you start to read a novel, you see that, novel draws from one place to another with lots of suspicion, lots of, unnecessary detail. But when it comes to academic writing, you see that the writer directly jumps into the topic without making much of moving here and there, right? You see it in this particular introductory paragraph. Can you tell me thesis of this essay? Which paragraph particularly tells the thesis of this essay? You know what is thesis? Where in the introduction, you have to set a thesis in the sense a roadmap to your big essay. So what is the roadmap in this particular essay? Which sentence tells that roadmap? You might read it out, or rather you might, yeah, just indicate what it is. Sanya, it has only three sentences, if you could see. Out of the three, what is the last? Okay. So if I invite you to read the last paragraph by unmuting your mic, will you do that, please, Buddha? Sana, I'm waiting for you to read thesis statement. Yes, you indicated me it's the last paragraph, last sentence. Yes, it's correct. Please read it. Sanepode. Well, let me read on behalf of you. No worries. This article explores these multifaceted challenges and discusses practical solutions to ensure that students not only survive but thrive in EMI environment. Okay. One question. So what this essay is going to talk about? Tell me what this article is going to discuss about. You can tell or rather send in a text. Sana, if you go ahead quickly, I'm sure that I'll be able to uh, conclude this quite uh, easily and quite fast. පොතේ මාව ඇහෙනව නේද? I wish I am audible and visible as well. Yeah. Well, okay. So what do you expect this essay to talk about? Now you have read the thesis. In the thesis, you see multifaceted challenges. So that's going to be one thing. Discuss practical solutions. So this essay is about challenges and practical solutions to bring those challenges into a resolved end. So you see, this is the typical nature of academic writing. You don't move here and there with suspense and making lots of waste of your time and words. You directly jump into the topic. So what do you call this particular technique which I highlight here? Parenthetics, and of course there gives some short forms of lengthy phrases. What do you call this? Do you have any idea? What are they? Sahana, please connect. I'm not going to make your life difficult, but to make your life easy. Come on. I wish my question is clear. Now, I have highlighted here STEM within brackets and EMI within brackets. These are typical features of academic text where, you have to deal with lots of terminology which are very technical, which are much jargonic, and they come in lengthy. Now, see, without telling science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, we simply state STEM, right? So it's going to be one of the terminologies in this discussion. And in this essay, there will be often instances where Tamil to English medium instruction. English medium instruction will be referred in the text quite a couple of times. So to indicate English medium instruction, the writer hereinafter, after the introduction, she will not go on telling English medium instruction once and again, or science, technology, engineering, and mathematics once and again. Instead of using that, she'll be using these shorted, abbreviated forms. We call them abbreviations in the text. So keep in mind, this is one of the features in academic writing. You have to take such measures when you are writing as well. So in the very first, you get that lengthy phrase. And if you know that particular phrase is going to be repeating in your essay, you don't need to repeat it quite often. What you have to do is, in the very first place, give its abbreviation. Now here, English medium instruction is given in the first place within brackets, and you see here, EMI is then in the second instance, it is referred as EMI. Did you get that point, Puta? If you got it, give me a thumbs up. Right. So we call this abbreviating, or rather giving abbreviations. Let me type it on your So you are given abbreviations in academic texts, but if you want to see where the abbreviation, the elaborated form of the abbreviation, you have to get to the beginning and see what that it is, right? So it is given in the very first instance. Well, let's jump into the second. Now you see in this essay, it is told that The essay is going to deal with challenges and solutions. Now you see how tactfully the writer comes to the second paragraph. In that, she uses a subtitle, the challenge of transition to EMI. She directly jumps to the challenge. You got it? So this is how you should organize your essay. You state what you're going to tell in the thesis statement, and in the very first instance, you use the abbreviated forms within brackets, and then you don't need to write them again and again. You go to the abbreviation and go ahead. Now here you see, I'm reading for most Sri Lanka students, the switch to EMI is abrupt. You see, EMI, that abbreviation is going. Okay. Let me ask one thing. I'm reading with you. You can read it on your mind while I'm reading for you to follow me. So you are what we call audiobook is me, right? Okay. I'm reading. For most Sri Lankan students, the switch to EMI is abrupt. They spend their formative years learning in their first language, Sinhala or Tamil, where academic literacy is built around native language context. When they enter higher education in universities, however, they suddenly face advanced STEM subjects taught entirely in English medium. Evidence from a study by Sri Lankan researchers Mahavath and Rasul 2021 highlights that many students experience a dramatic drop in confidence as they struggle to cope with this sudden change. One student described it poignantly. I came to university with huge pride only to realize my foundation in English is insufficient to meet the demands of my courses. Okay, I'm highlighting here this particular episode. Can you see? Yes. In that, do you see that the writer is actually bringing a point, or rather bringing a fact or a data from cited other literature, other paper to highlight her fact. What is her fact? It is difficult. It's a challenge. There are challenges in transitioning to EMI, English medium instruction, right? So she takes literature. This is what we call taking from literature, because in academic writing, you provide your idea and you support your idea with evidences, examples, and other people's writings. You take them and support your argument. Here, let me ask one thing. She takes an evidence, and there are two names, Mahavath and Rasul 2021. What is this, Buddha? Can you answer this question? What is Mahavath and Rasul, and what is this 2021? Tell me quickly. Or rather, you can simply type it and send. Authors and the year of publication. Okay. This particular thing, you have correctly got it. Mahavatta and Rasul, which means two authors. Mahavatta is one author and Rasul is another author. Now you see, Mahavatta is the surname, the last name of the author, first author, and Rasul is the last name of the second author. And within brackets, parenthetic thing is the year of publication. Now this particular thing is called in-text citation. What do you call it? Can you type it and send me? It is in-text citation. Yes. In-text citation here is actually appropriated to the text. Without simply telling, now if you say, if simply the idea is taken and just cite, you will put the names, you will put it like this. This is how you put, you can see on chat, this is how you put. If it is just the in-text citation. If you just write the whole stuff in your own words and then you put it like this, but here the writer actually get it added to your thoughts in the sense you write your idea, getting their ideas as your supporting points. Okay. Now, what is this, Puta? What is this? And do you know what and why these inverted commas and all that comes? Yes, Puta, it's a quotation. We call it a direct quotation. That's why double inverted commas and all that is there. Now you see, this whole idea is actually taking evidence to explain the idea that the writer is posing, right? Okay, okay. So she put this idea, the quick and fast conversion or transition from mother tongue education to English medium education is not easy. And to prove her point, she takes evidence from Mahabharata and Rasul. Okay, let me move. I'm reading with you. This experience is not unique to Sri Lanka. So she's gonna elaborate further on this experience, right? She says it's not unique to Sri Lanka alone. Read. Studies from Japan reveal that undergraduates transitioning from Japanese medium high schools to EMI universities often struggle with the specialized vocabulary needed for complex subjects. Once again, as Aizawa and Ross citation is given. Now, she proves her fact beyond just taking one example. She goes on providing examples, not only from Sri Lankan context, but also from outside as well. Okay. A similar challenge is observed in Tunisian institution reveals that while EMI provides access to international resources, it also demands mastery of technical language and academic discourse. That is Melity 2024. Now you see, she brings evidences from other contexts as well. Now you see, what is this sentence and what does it do? Tell me what this sentence just do in the whole paragraph. Where does the writer bring this whole discussion of evidences lead to? Where does he lead to? Can you kindly respond me, Buddha? Do you see, after giving evidences, she is bringing all that idea into somewhere. Yes. You responded? Yes. She takes that whole idea into conclusion. So you see, these findings highlight the global nature of language barrier by education, right? So need for targeted support systems to help students navigate the transition effectively, right? Okay. Now, there comes the second point. Now, she proved that there are barriers. EMI is a challenge, and she proved with facts that it is the case of Japan, it's the case of Tunisia, and it's the case of Sri Lanka, so that it's a world fact. You got the point? And now she elaborates further on the same thing. But still remember, this is all about challenges. She did not come to the solution provision. Okay, let's look at the heart of the EMI challenge lies the issue of language proficiency. Even students with moderate to high general English skills find themselves at a loss when it comes to the technical language specific to STEM. Conversing in everyday English is very different from reading dense academic texts, writing detailed lab reports, or explaining complex scientific ideas. So she now comes little by little into explain the nature of the language barrier. Blair, now she takes Blair as a supporting point, argues that the ability to engage critically with academic content is closely linked to one's command over technical terminology. Blair කියනවා කෙනෙක්ගේ technical knowledge terminology එක දැනගැනීමෙන් one can be mastering the command of it. Without it, students risk misinterpreting key concepts, leading to only superficial learning. Now you see, she's getting involved in the discussion of how this barrier is seen by the others. Well, she goes on explaining it. And here you see, once again, Mahavat and Razul is cited. And you see, she explores social and cultural factors in EMI, the importance of academic literacies. Now here, after setting up all related to challenges, now she diverges to provide solutions. I'm reading that point where moving forward, solutions for a smoother transition. To bridge these gaps, universities must take actions at multiple levels. She talks about 4 levels of action. What are they? Strengthening English for academic purposes, enhancing faculty training, developing coordinated policy reforms, encouraging a supportive university culture. And then you see the essay is taken to conclusion. I want you to read the concluding part of the essay and tell me what in a conclusion in the sense, conclusion of an essay should be, what the conclusion should be like. Just read these 3 paragraphs, which comes in conclusion. They are not actually paragraphs. It's all longer, but very short paragraphs. You can read it and give me what do you do in a conclusion. You can take about 1 to 3 minutes. Maybe you write down, or else you might unmute and tell me what a writer like you, like Ashwini does here, like any academic writer, what should they be doing in a conclusion of an academic essay? That's my question. Well, Sahanya, you say it's providing a summary of all points. Okay, what else? Yeah, that is one thing. But when you're writing summary, remember that you still take summary. It should be summary, MARY. Yes. Advantages of taking actions. Okay. If you could remember what we told you to do in a conclusion, yes, you provide summary of all points. That's correct. That's 100% correct. Yes, you have to provide a summary of the facts. I agree. That's 100%. But don't you see that the writer goes back and restate the thesis? She told the thesis at the beginning. Does she restate the thesis, and where does she do it? What is the thesis? Where does she do it? I'm waiting for you to respond. Yeah. Yes, you state the main points and you restate the thesis because, in your academic essay, what you're doing is you state a thesis, you bring points and argue and discuss and bring it into a conclusion. In the conclusion, you restate the thesis and confirm your reader that you proved your thesis via logics, explanations, and evidences. Well, can you find where does she do it? Hope my question is clear. Yes, Pute? Let me ask a simple question. What is it? If you want to summarize, or rather, if you want to grasp the whole idea of a big academic text, where do you think should you first refer to it? Hmm? Where in the academic essay will you be able to grasp the whole overarching idea of the essay? Where do you think it is? Is my question clear, Buddha? Imagine that you are given a big academic text to summarize, right? And to get the essentials for your summary, where will you be referring in your academic essay? In your big academic essay, there is a particular place where you have to refer it, where it appears. Conclusion, quite right. Okay, now there is one more thing. Conclusion is simply what the academic essay is talking about. Now, in this academic essay, there isn't much, but it's just a discussion about a topic. But if you just take a research paper, in a research paper, it appears somewhere else, not in the conclusion itself, but it appears somewhere else. Where do you think in a research paper the ideas for summary comes in? In a research paper where the ideas for summary comes in, or rather, where the summary of the research paper appears. In which part? What do you call it? Quite simply. Scanning is quite simply what you do, Putta. But have you heard something called this in any journal or academic article? Have you heard something called abstract? Well, then go back to, yes, go back to the course page, and there you will find what? What you see on screen. Now, this is one of the articles referred by Ashwini to cite some of the facts about, academic writing. Now, here you see how this is typically the very nature of a journal article. Now, when you are going to university and when you are reading uh, stuff for your essays and all that, you will have to refer to journal articles. In a journal article, Putta, it begins with something called an abstract. You see, here it is abstract. And abstract ends with keywords. You see? And in a journal article, you see the whole summary of the entire narrative of the research paper in the abstract. So, before you go and read a very big academic text or rather academic article, I invite you to refer to the abstract and see whether the particular thing is relevant to you, whether what you want to read is included in the article could be found from looking at the abstract. Did you get the point? So where in a research article should you refer when you wanna understand what the summary of the essay is, what the summary of the article is, where it appears? It appears in the abstract. So tonight, I'm not going to extend my discussion beyond that. You know why? We were teaching something as facts in the very first instance, in the very first half of the lesson. And then we are relating it in the real context of academic writing, how they are employed in actual authentic contexts. And then we are giving you a homework. Now, note down, Putta, what is your homework for the day? Here, I am typing it on the notepad and I wish you'll be able to see it. Let me share my screen and write it. And I want you to take it to a note right now. Okay? So what is it? This is your homework. Okay? What is your homework? Your homework is to search for any topic of your interest in Google Scholar. Why in Google Scholar, Putta? Because you are not simply referring to simple articles in any random place. You are referring to articles written academically, right? And once you found an article, right? Find an article from Google Scholar. I cite it with an abbreviation, GS, right? Find an article from GS and identify its what? Segments or episodes or sections. An article usually comes in several sections. And then what you have to do, upload after studying the sections of the article you referred, prepare a template for a research paper. හරි සරල වැඩක් ඔයා කරන්න යන්නේ මොකද්ද පුතේ? ජර්නල් ආටිකල් එකක් හොයාගෙන Google Scholar වලින් ඒ journal article එකේ තියෙන sections මොනවද කියලා identify කරගන්නවා. Today you have found there is something called abstract in the top, right? And there is something coming next. After abstract, there comes something, and there comes something else, and so on, right? And you can refer first to the article which I uploaded to the Moodle as the last activity, right? දැන් මම ඔයාලට පෙන්නුවේ මහවත්තන් රසූල්ගේ ආටිකල් එකේ abstract එකෙන් පටන් අරන් තියෙන්නේ. So that you can go ahead with subsections. What subsections are there? ඒ subsections ටික බලලා you can go for a second article. ඔයාට යන්න පුළුවන් දෙවෙනි article එකකට. Study a second article as well. එතකොට ඔයාලට පෙනේ ඒකෙත් අර වගේම segments තියෙනවා. ඊට පස්සේ අඳුර ගන්න commonly ඕනම journal paper එක research article එක තියෙන segments මොනවද කියලා. අන්නේ segments identify කරලා ඔයා මට හදලා පෙන්නන්න Word document එක a template for a research paper. Is the task clear? You can note down the homework task and you can give me a thumbs up if you are clear about the homework. Okay. Okay. So keep in mind, Sahanya, you are going to learn how some of the texts that you have to refer in the university are going to be like, right? And the purpose of this is for you to understand how a journal article is organized in a particular order, right? Is that clear, Buddha? Yes. Okay, Sahanya. Now it is time for you. You have 2 minutes to ask any question from the things that you learned today and from the things that you happen to come across with Miss Ashwini's teaching at the beginning and later with me. Any questions? If you have got any questions, you can ask the question on chat. If you haven't got question, you can simply say goodbye and good night so that we can wind up for the day. Sana, it seems you have a question. Okay, type it down and send me. Okay, Sana, if you haven't got any question, let me say good night for the time being, and we'll be meeting next Wednesday with same spirit. And yes, on Wednesday we'll be having only 1.5 hours, but on Saturday we'll be having 2 sessions like this. One taken by Miss Ashwini or me at the beginning, and then a shorter episode after a break, right? So in this way, we'll be continuing for the next couple of weeks, and we'll reach to the very essence sort of academic writing essentials. Thank you for being here today, Sahana. Good night.